Alright. So we not sure we're gonna get through all of this, all 18 verses tonight, but I definitely want to get through at least the first half, probably 6 or 9 verses. Tonight we're gonna talk about when darkness is your closest friend. When darkness is your closest friend. People are going through stuff, all kinds of things are happening, good, bad, indifferent. We live in a time where things are changing, people's lives are changing, circumstances are changing, people walking in your life, people walking out your life. You're seeing people that's been in your life for many years for who they really are now. Scales are coming off your eyes. And so a whole lot of stuff is going on with people. That's just not, I'm just not talking about people in the body of Christ. I'm talking about just in general. Like a whole lot of shifting is going on. You know, people you work with years, people are changing. And sometimes people don't understand that change has to happen. Change is inevitable. We can't stop change. That's just the cycle of life. So we in this period where we're in between. I think the first day of spring is starting the day about 4 something. So our, the time has changed. Our nights are longer. All this pollen seems like it's raining. You like your car. You can wash your car today. Which I wash my car today and put it in the parking lot, and it's got pollen on it again. So stuff is changing. Season of change, and people are going through things of change, and all the time that when things change, it's not comfortable. And so a lot of people are dealing with uncomfortable positions. Some of you are in positions that you've never been in before, with however it is, voluntary or involuntary, things are changing around you. So I thought tonight that we would look at Psalm 88, and I was going to show you how you can even find hope in depression. Because in times of depression, we still got to cry out to God. And so whether you want to admit it or not, people say, I'm not depressed. Well, people that say they're not depressed, that's the first sign that they are depressed. You can say you're not depressed all day long, but if you only have to do what you have to do, if you don't want to do anything extra, you don't want to see nobody, you don't want to talk to nobody, you just kind of have to do what you have to do. You're going to work, you come home, you're going to work, you come home, you're going to work, come home, and you don't want no outside activity, you don't want to do anything. You might be teeter-tottering on depression. So it's a subject that we won't talk about in church a whole lot because all we want well, I pray for it. Well, no, prayer is good, but sometimes you need to unload. Sometimes you need to talk about what's going on with you, with people that you think that care about you. And so in the Psalm tonight, in Psalm 88, as we look at verse 1, but let me just give a background of what's going on. Basically, the psalmist is addressing God about what's going on with him. And he is going through a whole lot of things. He's asking God why really. Some of the same stuff that we ask. People say you should question God. It's okay to question God as long as you prepare for the answer that He's about to give you. Now, sometimes when we question God, He don't give us the answer that we want, and then we say, well, God, I need you to do this for me, and then God do it for you, and then you'll say, that ain't God. And the reason that we say it's not God is because sometimes what we need is not what we want. And so even when you pray about what you want from God, God is going to only give you what you need and what you can handle at that time. So when you look at verses 1 and 2, he's asking God to hear his prayer of affliction. All right? It's a prayer. He's under great affliction. He's under great pressure. He says, "O Lord, God of my salvation, I have cried out day and night before you. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to hear me." So just the opening line would suspect us to expect, something doom and gloom. But as we read, it's going to get better. So from the beginning to the end, there's really no trace of bitterness, no desire of revenge on his enemies. He's not angry about reflections on the goodness of God, but his reference to God reveals a sense of his grace and his goodness. And so when you really look at it, he says, let me pray, let my prayer come before you, incline your ear to hear my cry. Now, the Message Bible says, God, you're my last chance of the day. I spent the night on my knees before you. Put me on your salvation agenda. In other words, I'm crying out to you. I'm on my knees, but it still seems like you ain't here. You ever been there? Yeah. When you pray and you pray and you pray and then you get to the point where you be like, what you doing? Like, why am I going through this? Have you ever said to yourself, why me? You ain't got to raise your hand. Have you ever said to yourself, why me? Why now? Why am I going through this? What did I do to deserve this? Anybody ever said that? All right. All of those are basically prayers of affliction. That there is something that you are uncomfortable with in your life, that's happening in your life, and what you want God to do, you want God to hurry up and fix it. Because it don't feel good. But you got to understand that there are some things that we have to go through because God is trying to purge something out of us. All right? Everybody knows that, we heard about jewelry, and, jewelry goes to a refinery, and it goes, and it melted down. Not always like I watch Gold Diggers on TV on whatever one of the channels it is. But anybody else watch that? Y'all so anyway, this is the wrong crowd. This is the wrong crowd to talk about this. But in Gold Diggers, they have to dig down sometimes in rivers and streams. And they have to take a tool, which Deep knows something about this because he was a miner. They have to take a tool and they have to get through what they call the pebble rock. Once they get through the pebble rock, then the gold, it's some kind of way, they get to the gold. Gold is on the other side of the pebble. But they got to get through the pebble. And sometimes the instrument that they're using to get to the gold don't work. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it breaks down. But once they get to the gold, until it comes through this machine, up through the water, and they strain it, and then all of a sudden, what you thought was dirt start looking golden. And it's all because the people that's digging for it have an eye to understand that even though it looks like dirt, if you take it through the refinery and you wash it off, it's gold. And so that's what the devil knows about each and every one of us. If we can just get through the dirt that we in, then God gonna refine us. And even though we're going through, we may be dirty going through it now. And see, and here's the thing that we're going through in church. Not church, where I say, in the Christian community is that you're dealing with, the church is changing. People tired of folk faking and acting like they don't do no wrong, and they don't sin, and they don't get mad, and all this kind of stuff. Basically, people are tired of people that lead the people of God acting like they're robots. All right. That ain't real. The reason we can't get people saved, and the reason that folks stop coming to church is because we gotta quit putting up a facade like we got it all together. We cross everything. And I tell people all the time, you can preach holiness and you can say folks need to be holy, but at the end of the day, we in something called flesh. All right. And some days Out of 7 days, probably 6. Your flesh went. Cause you'll say, you know, I mean, y'all work on jobs just like I do, and I have, and stressful. You be like, you know, I ain't gonna cuss nobody out today. And then somebody try you, and you be like, you know, y'all think cause I go to church.
There you go.
You know that I mean, so it does not mean that you are not holy. It does not mean that you are not saved. What it means is that you are human. Now, the problem is when you don't try.
All right.
When somebody picks you off and your first result is to cuss them out. That's a problem. But when you try to the best of your abilities, be nice and all that kind of, now that at least know you trying, but some folks just don't try. And so we get into these periods and we're asking God to hear our prayer and affliction because, you know, he says, oh God, you are the God of my salvation. In other words, he says, first of all, even though I'm going through what I'm going through, I know I'm saved. You have to remind yourself when you're going through afflictions that you saved. Because the devil will tell you having this issue because of something you did in your past. I ain't talking about that testimony that you stand up and say, praise the Lord, thanks everybody, I've been running for Jesus a long time, they ain't got tired yet, I've been saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. I'm talking about the stuff you done did since you've been saved.
All right.
Just look straight ahead when nobody knows what I'm talking about. And so there are too many people that try to act like you ain't sinned since you've been saved. So he says, okay, Lord, I know you God of my salvation. I've cried out, he says, day and night. And then he says, just let my prayer come before you. Like I'm praying day and night, but it seems like it ain't even getting to you. Where it's going? So basically me and God into it. Now, if you ain't never been into it with God, then maybe you need to go back, get your salvation straight. But there are times, those of us that will be honest, the few people in the room, that will say there are sometimes that you and God ain't talking to each other. Yeah, I mean, you ain't talking to him, and he ain't talking to you because you ain't talking. I mean, you go through periods, and affliction can come in many ways. You know, you guys that been with me, y'all know in the next couple of days, for those of you that don't know, and then my mom's birthday Saturday, and then she passed away 3 days later. And, you know, that'll be a year or so, you know, going through that, different emotions, thinking about that, missing the physical presence. Then you try to explain to folks your feeling at the first thing, the first thing they say, the first thing they want to do is quote scriptures.
All right.
Well, you know, let not your heart be troubled. Listen, sir, ma'am, my mama in the grave. I don't miss her. Don't miss her. Just let me be. Just say I'm praying for you.
Right.
But don't try to quote no scripture and try to get me caught. Cause ain't nothing. The only thing that gonna make me feel better about this year is if that my mama walked through the door. And if she walked through the door, we all leave. I'm just saying. And so you can't allow people, watch this, when you're going through your affliction, to try to help you, watch this, hurry up and get through.
Right.
You know why people try to hurry you through your affliction? Because people ain't real comfortable with dealing with it. And so the psalmist said, listen, I'm dealing with God. God, I know I'm saved, I'm crying out to you, and you still ain't answering me. Okay, then I'm done. What you want me to do? Back to my real estate. There'll come a time that when you just don't talk to God. State Overseer Wood said something so profound to the preachers this last week at the conference. He said, there are too many preachers that are preaching to preach a sermon. I mean, they are reading the Bible to preach a sermon, but they ain't reading the Bible to live.
All right.
Come a little closer. There are too many church folk that only come to church just to come to church.
All right. Right.
But they don't come to church to live.
All right.
Or be like the church. Because you can act sanctimonious in here, but the whole thing is, are you going to be that same person you are?
All right.
Or with?
All right.
Are you going to be that same person? Just let that marinate for me. So he says, God, I know I'm saved. I'm crying out to you day and night. And you ain't even heard my prayer. All right, so he gets to it, God. He says, just listen to me. He says, incline your ear to hear my cry. All I want you to do is listen at what I'm saying. I'm looking at, and you like I go through it, you know, you stay in the neighborhood, you see folk, you know, they ain't trying to go to church, they waving at you on their way out, they scrubbing on cars, and you know, it just seems like, you know, they look like they doing better than you. Because that's just the trick of the enemy. They look like they're doing, and you always, you know, you trying to come in, run in, change clothes, whatever, come to Bible study, and then it just seems like they always at home, and they so happy to go look, and they speak to you, hey, how you doing? And you like, whatever. Sometimes the devil gives us a camouflage of what we think we want.
All right. Right.
Watch this. So he said, so verse 1 and 2, he's praying from the one, he's the one under great affliction. Now, if you look at verse 3, the depth of his affliction is this. He says, for my soul, in verse 3, is full of trouble, and my life draws near to the grave. I'm counted with those who go down in the pit. I'm like a man who has no strength, adrift among the dead, like the slain who lay in the grave, who you remember no more, and who are cut off from your hand. So the first thing he says is, my soul is full of trouble. The agony was not superficial. It went down deep to the soul. It was inward in the soul, and outward. It was an outward threatening to his physical life. He says, my life draws near to the grave. Others expected the psalmist to die because of what he's saying. He says, I'm counted as those who go down to the pit. And so the emotions and the suffering expressed by the psalmist are close in spirit of those of Psalm 22. You ain't got to go there. So in the tradition of the church, what happens is these psalms are linked together with scripture reading on Good Friday. And so when you look at this, he says, my soul is full of trouble. The psalmist has found that the quickest argument before his God is that there's nothing so quickly that makes the bell ring in heaven as touched as the troubled man. And so he had his house full and his hands full of, he had his house full and his hands full of sorrow, but worse than that, he had his heart full of it. And so trouble in the soul is the soul of the trouble. Then he says, watch this, among the dead. Now watch this, the psalmist was so weak and afflicted that he thought that it would be better to be dead than to be alive. People say they don't understand how people can kill themselves, even think about killing themselves. But you can get so deep in a pit, and you can get to thinking about what you got facing you and what's coming up. That I'm not saying I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna kill myself, but I can say I can empathize with people that get to a point of no return and say, I got all these bills and I ain't got no money, but I got an insurance policy. And if I take myself out, or if I do something to myself, these are the people that don't kill themselves, don't blow their brains out. These are the people that may take a pill or something like that because they understand that sometimes most of our insurance policies have a clause in it that if you commit suicide, you ain't gonna get that money. Y'all look crazy like y'all didn't know that. Yeah, there's a clause in it. If you got life insurance, if you take yourself out, it will not pay. All right, unless you got a good lawyer, get you a good Jew lawyer. And so people get to a point where the affliction is so much. So he says, basically, God, so you won't hear me. I've been calling you. You won't answer me. I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my soul. I'm giving you my mind. He says, I tell you what, hell, I'm better dead off. I'm better off dead. Because at least if I'm dead, then folk will forget about me eventually. Let me pause parenthetically and tell you this, that some people, when they're deep in their affliction, some people cannot come up out of it because simply, watch this, they don't think nobody cares about them. Think nobody cares about them. That's why people go off and they go to themselves and you don't hear nothing from them because they don't think people care about them. But it's always somebody that care about you. I ain't talking about the Lord. I'm talking about physically here on earth. There are at least one or two people that care about you. I mean, if I go missing too many days, somebody gonna call.
Right.
If I don't show up for somebody gonna, if you don't show up for work, you been telling me the folk at work, you keep on not showing up for work, you don't think they're gonna be concerned about you, even if it's who gonna do your job? Alright? So you get so deep in affliction that death would look better than life. Now that's a deep pit to be in. It's a deep pit to be in. Because I always tell y'all, like if I was on death row, and you know they give you your sentence date, ain't no way in hell I'll walk to the gas tank. I stretch out. I'm talking about, I know I'm finna die. What I'm finna? You think I'm finna walk peacefully? I'm finna fight. They gonna say, listen, I ain't even gonna walk my leg. I'm gonna get past it. I'm gonna get down by the time. You think I'm finna walk in the gas chamber? No, if I'm on there, I'm telling they're gonna put me in the wheelchair, and then I'm gonna be fighting all the way. I ain't finna just go, I don't wanna say how the folks just go in there and lay down somewhere. I ain't finna do. And you know you ain't coming back out. See, it's the difference when you don't, if you die, you don't know, but when you know you gonna die, I ain't finna go. No, they're gonna have to take about 10 strong men. I'm finna fight, they're gonna do something, they're gonna knock me out or something for it. No, I ain't gonna run that back. Yeah, go ahead.
You know when you say, cause you know I get mad about sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like I get convicted too, cause I'm like, I don't have the right to be mad at you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's when you come back to yourself. See, when you be mad, that be the flesh. But when you say you ain't got a right to be mad, that means you spirit. So we wrestling, we both of them every day. Just is what it is. It's just how it is. Thank God that you can come back to yourself. Because people that stay mad with God, stay mad with themselves. And then that's when they fall into this deep depression, deep affliction that the psalmist had fallen into. He said, listen, I'm just gonna go down to the pit. I'm just gonna die. It don't even matter. You don't care that about it. Alright? Alright?
And I feel like you laugh at me because it's like, you just crazy. You know, like, does that make, I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm trying to be serious.
Yeah, God know us.
And it's like, I be so mad at him, like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
Then, like you said, my spirit be like, well, you don't have the right to be mad after all it's done for you.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to be mad.
Yeah.
And I get convicted real quick.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right. And that's why I tell people all the time, you hear me say, people need to quit acting like they the only one going through it. We all going through it.
Yeah.
Like you ain't the only one. We all may not go through it at the same time, but we all need to be empathizing, sympathizing with one another, to understand that we either in a storm, coming out, or going in. You in one of them three places. Alright? So that's why I tell people all the time, like that's why I'm for the underdog, I'm always for the person, even if they do wrong. I mean, I'm like, okay, even people that have murdered people, even people that have done things to be in prison, they still got somebody that love them. And I always say, if I get in trouble, if y'all read my name in the paper, I mean, yeah, y'all gonna talk anyway, but it ought to be at least one person that say, hey, we gonna pray for him that he get back straight. I think, and Yvonne Capehart said this last week too. She said the problem with the church is we give up on people too soon. They made one mistake, and we ready to take them off every board, sit them down, and forget that we all living on grace. And so we got to do a better job of extending the grace measure to people and understand that yes, we fall, but we got to be able to pick to help folk back up, not keep them where they down. And that's why I'm always going to come to y'all. Like, why you gonna kick a person that, like, I mean, it still irks me. Like, I don't understand why people share stories on social media from whatever, it don't matter what channel, them folk got a family.
Right.
Even if they in the wrong. Well, he killed my cousin, but still, the person that killed your cousin got a family. So we doing an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth now? What are we doing? Well, no. If somebody killed one of my family, I'm gonna be hurt. But I'm gonna pray for them and pray that the Lord put some forgiveness in my heart, because they gonna need it.
Oh, you ain't forget?
No, I like my freedom too much. I can pay somebody. I ain't gonna be able to give them. No. All right, so he says, what we at, verse 6? Did we do 3, 4, and 5? All right, so let's look at verse 6 and 7 and then I'll be done. There's a divine source of affliction. He says, you, God, have brought me low. You have laid me in this lowest pit in darkness in the depths. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you have afflicted me with all your ways. He basically said, now this is a bold statement, man. Yeah. You saying, okay, God, this your fault that I'm going through this. You did this to me. Now, don't raise your hand all at once, but how many of y'all have told God it's your fault? I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to raise both my hands. What I'm going through is your fault. If I wouldn't have been trying to trust you, if I wouldn't have been trying to walk out, can I be very transparent? What we going through right now, I done told God, listen, the reason we done got put out, well, not recently, we good now, we on good terms. But the reason we got put out, because I'm trying to trust your voice, and you got me out here looking like a fool, these folks that put us out, we ain't got no building. I'm trying to, me and God got into it now. I told him, this is your fault. And then, some of you, not in here, but some of you have even said, if we just could have worked out where we was before we got Oasis, we would have been all right. Some of y'all have said that. You know why? Because we don't believe in divine providence. That sometimes God disrupts things to push us to another level. That when we get comfortable, when we come to church and we got to get there by Sunday school because the church packed and we put down chairs and y'all sitting on top of each other and everybody, and you know, we done got comfortable and God say, okay, all right, this is what I'm finna do. I'm finna disrupt stuff because y'all think y'all doing something.
Right.
And I tell the choir all the time, me and the choir, the group me, and I have to tell them sometimes, like when we go to some of these churches small and they instruments, like, I'm like, first of all, what y'all building?
All right.
They get in folk, watch hand, turning their nose up. And I have to simply say, where y'all building? How you gonna be arrogant and ain't got nothing?
That's right.
I can bring them back to reality. And when I bring back to reality, they're like, oh, okay, you're right now. Where y'all question? Oh, talking about them today. Baby, these boys act like they done cut Stella on one. Y'all just don't know. Y'all, not all of them. Not all of them. Not all of them. But 92%. anywhere. They'll go anywhere.
He said right.
They'll go anywhere, but they'll be looking around like. Especially the numbers on this side. He says, so he tells God, listen, this is your fault. You brought me like this. So you ain't got to be honest to say that you told God that, but I have. I literally have. I remember when me and Carol moved from Jacksonville to Montgomery for me to pastor the church, and I know God will. But man, I was like, after them folk came and picked up not one car, but 2 cars. I was like, okay, I'm born in your name, but how is this your will? They literally picked up my truck 1 week because I just told folk, hey, I ain't gonna hide, they're gonna get the key to be in there. I stayed in the community, and they got to the point where either I was gonna ride or I was gonna leave. I told them, like, hey, come pick it up. Well, there a couple of weeks, about one or 2, they came and picked up Karen car. And there I was in Montgomery with a wife and a child. We didn't have John Mike at the time. And I had taken about $50,000 to pay for it. I'm following God. And I got a wife that's crying because we ain't got no deal. So you can't tell me I ain't had no right to tell God I'm through with you. Oh yes, I did. And I just had, and for, let me see, that was 2010, probably for about 6 months to 8 months, I drove one of my deacons' car, one of my trustees that we borrowed his car. And then my mama brought a car, brought her old car, didn't need a car, brought her old car to me one Sunday morning, just randomly, didn't even know she was coming. My aunts came, brought her car to me, wrote me a $3,000 check and said, listen, take care of what you need to take care of, and went back home and bought her car. Then I said, okay, God, we get a little better. But here's the thing. This is how I know this was God. I never told my mama what was going on. Never, because I'm a man. I take care of responsibility. So I did not disclose, and I made Carol not owe my money. Because y'all women, y'all tell us. So when she talked to my mama, I was like, hey, don't say nothing about what we got going on down here. And she made sure she did. And so here I am, newly in this area, we know this area. My mama had to bring me her car, and I'm driving one of my trustees' car. Here it is 10 months later. The folk called, they sent me the letter, told me that don't know about repossession, this is what happens. They send you a letter and say your car was sold at the auction for this amount, you owe this amount. They did that for both cars. But when my letter came, I was scared to open the letter. Right? I didn't open the letter for 3 or 4 weeks. When the letters came, mine said it was sold at the auction, and because you voluntarily gave up both vehicles, this will not hit your credit.
All right.
And I said, okay, God, we start talking a little bit more. So I'm saying all this to say that when you are in divine affliction, some of y'all need to tweet that. There's a difference when you just in affliction, but then there's a difference when you in divine affliction. That means afflictions that he has allowed to have. Now some stuff we put our own selves in. But when you're in divine affliction, he has an obligation to bring you out of it. And so I opened those letters a month before that. A month and a half after that. And I was doing something one day and just rolled by the car lot and said, man, I'm gonna go over here and get me a car. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna get care of the car, bro. Get care of the car. I went on there and got carried a car and called her and said, come pick up this. It was a brand new car, 35 miles ago. But 10 months ago, 2 of my cars had got removed. When you're a divine affliction, then God knows how much you can bear. He knows when you're at that point. So let me finish this up. So he says, you have laid me in this lawless pit. You have in darkness and death. You're wrapped life. No, God. Is that right? Yeah. You're wrapped life upon me, and you have afflicted me. You have afflicted me. So he says what he feels. And sometimes you need to say to God what you really feel. I know you lying to God and trying to act like y'all all right.
All right.
You gotta tell God, man, listen, I'm upset with you. It's just like talking to your spouse or your boo. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you not tell the person when you upset with them?
Oh, Lord.
Well, how you know if a person, they ain't God, so they can't reach your mind? Now, God can read out. But your spouse or your significant other, whoever your boo or your boo friend, whatever, they can't read your mind. So how I'm gonna know something wrong if you don't open your mouth and say something? What'd you say, Mom? So he says, your wrath lies heavy upon me. So it seems that in this psalm, the source of affliction was the righteous wrath of God. The righteous wrath of God. The wrath of God is the very hell of hell. That's what the wrath of God is. Look at the Old Testament. You know, I thank God for Jesus. But in the Old Testament, when God got tired, y'all don't want to do right? Okay, y'all ain't going to the promised land. You ain't going in until every last one of y'all die. That was his wrath. I think sometimes we forget that even though we're living under the grace of God, that God's wrath is hell.
All right.
And when God gets tired, I don't understand how people can say, you know, they don't understand what's going on in America. Y'all need to read, y'all need to dig, y'all need to do your history. And folk, you know, I saw one senator was on, somebody from the Republican Party was on Fox saying, you know, we don't get enough credit for abolishing slavery. Excuse me, ma'am? America don't get enough credit for abolishing slavery. Well, first of all, y'all were forced to stop treating our people. And every other nationality got some, and we ain't getting nothing. The Jews got some, what we getting? We still waiting on, we want out, I want my 48. And all these candidates that ain't for I ain't going for none of them. We need something, even though we might not do it, even though we might do what Secretary Entertainment said at barbershop. We might make Cadillac #1 dealer in the United States, but give us our money.
Give it to them. That's right.
We want to buy. Anyway, all right. So let me finish. I want to go to 8 and 9. So we did, that was 6 and 7, right? So I want to go to 8 and 9. He says, 8 and 9, 8, and then I'm going to be like, he says, you, God, have made me alone. You have put away my acquaintances far from me. You have made me an abomination to them. I am shut up. I can't get out. My eye waste away because of my affliction. So here he is. He's saying, okay, God, you the one got me isolated. Because everything that's happening to me, folk know they ain't coming around. I'm shut up. I can't get out. And so it's because of this. So really, when you think about it, his situation kind of resembles that of Job. But the thing, and I'm very seriously concerned about this, but the thing about Job is, what people miss is that everybody blames Job, but nobody prayed for him. He had friends that come to him and say, man, you had all this stuff last week. Come on now. Tell us what did happen. It's almost like when something happened in your life, or when your spouse decides to divorce you, or you divorce them, or whatever, however it be, folks want to come to you and say, come on now, tell me what really happened. Well, you know, I had already heard. This what he's saying. He's saying, God, you got me in this lonely place. But then we have to deal with what we have to deal with ourselves. I tell each couple that I counsel, premarital, doing divorce, going through whatever, I listen. Each party have to deal with what they brought to the table.
I love
Just a little crazy.
it. You should have.
You can blame it on him, you can blame it on alcohol, you can blame it on the blunt. But until you deal with the stuff that you brought to the table, there'll never be a close. There's never gonna be close. And God is saying tonight, until you bring me that deep embedded affliction that you have in me, I know folks still mad with God because they mama died. I'm serious. Folk mad. And the reason some folk don't go to family functions is because they look at their folk and they be saying, I wish God would have took you.
Wow.
I just said something right there. I went down through there. Y'all weren't ready. That's why you don't go. Because you still upset with God about taking your loved one. And when you go, and the ones that still here that's raised in hell and continue to keep the family divided, you asking God, why you ain't take them? Let me raise my hand on that. I'm guilty. But you know why God ain't took them yet? Because he's still giving them time. Still giving them time. Y'all don't see how that's fucking nerve. It's real, man. You gotta get real with God. You gotta quit having these little penny-ante conversations with God. Now I lay you down, still pray to the Lord or something. I talk to God just like I talk to y'all. I be in my car like, hey, bro, you kidding me? I'm trying to, hey, God, you gotta come on. You gotta show me the way. That's how I talk to him. It ain't no form or you say form and I be like, God, come on now. I need a sign that's gonna fall off the table or something. Let a light bulb go out. Do something, let me know you will. Let me know you're listening to me. Because sometimes you can talk to God and you feel just like this song. Like you ain't hearing me, dude.
Right.
That's why I tell anybody that's in any type of relationship, male, female, whatever, you ain't in no love 90% of the time. And if you are, you lying.
Come on now.
In some days, as I was reading something, and I was reading something about, I think it was about couple ministry or something, this book that I'm reading. And the lady admitted, this author said, that there are some days, me and my husband have been married 45 years, and she said, there are some days when I'm pouring his coffee, that he done pissed me off so bad, that I want to pour it in his face.
Jesus.
And I said, ooh, let me highlight that. So there are some days that you don't want to be around people. Understand that. And quit taking everything personal. Some days folks just don't want to talk. Let folk be in their feelings and they want to be. Quit trying to get folk out of their feelings. Let folk be how they need to be.
Amen.
Because I keep on telling people that have living parents, you don't know what those that don't have living parents go through. So you can't tell me because it's been 20 or 30 years or however been on, you need to get over that. Listen, that cause you have your relationship with your folk is different from the relationship I have with mine. Some folk that have no relationship with their parents, so when they go to sleep, they good with it. But there are some people that struggle with it. And so you can't tell nobody, okay, it's been long enough now.
Right.